afternoon, and welcome to the Your Town radio and television program on historic AM 1240 KNRY and AMPS Access Monterey Peninsula Cable Channel 24. Every weekday at 5 o'clock, we're proud to have as our guests various local civic and community leaders. The purpose of the program is to help inform listeners and viewers like you about some of the things going on in your town. And now, on with the program.
Hello, my name is Debbie Hale, and welcome to the Your Town radio and television program. I'm the Executive Director of the Transportation Agency for Monterey County, and today I am interviewing three people that are going to talk about electric vehicles in the Monterey Bay Area. A lot of things have changed since we talked about this, and so we brought in some new folks to give you an update, and we'll be starting out with my guest, Will Beckett. He's with the Electric Auto Association, and he has owned electric vehicles since 1994. So for quite a long time. Then we're going to move on to Elaine Chu, and she's going to also a new electric vehicle owner, and then we'll close up with Christy Markey, who's one of the co-chairs of the Monterey Bay Electric Vehicle Network. So welcome, Will, to your town.
Thank you.
So, Will, why have you gotten so involved in electric vehicles?
Well, I grew up in a family. My father was an electrical engineer, and he tinkered around with a lot of things, and he actually built us a train when I was very young, and my brothers and I used to ride around this train in the yard and have all the friends in the neighborhood come over and play with this thing. It had a rather long track on it, and we learned how to take care of lead-acid batteries and all that stuff. And so it was really a matter of when I was going to have an electric car, not if. And in the 70s, I tried desperately to get myself into an electric car, but they really hadn't developed anything that was what you'd call normal for a car. You had to turn on different banks of batteries to make it move faster.
Oh boy.
So there was a series of switches on the front panel, and you'd turn these switches on to accelerate and turn them off when you wanted to decelerate. And that was kind of cumbersome. I thought my wife would have some difficulty driving the car, so I figured it was not...
taking your hands off the wheel.
So I waited until there were actually things called controllers that were developed, which were solid state, and gave you the ability to be able to actually press an accelerator and have the car go, and have it manage the power, the extreme power that goes to the motor. I mean, it's several hundred amps, and so that's very difficult to manage. And these controllers that came out in the late 70s, early 80s made that possible.
So what are the benefits of electric vehicles for folks that drive them?
Well, the cosmetic benefits, the ones that are kind of on the surface and easy for people to relate to when they first jump into an electric car, is it's noticeably quiet. And the only thing you really hear is road noise kind of stuff, and so you can hear your radios better. You can not annoy people when you're in a parking lot or something like that. In fact, it's a little bit disturbing. Some have talked about noise generators and things, and the reason they do is in a parking lot you're deadly silent. And my first vehicle was a Chevy S10 Blazer, which is a rather large vehicle. So when you're moving around in the parking lot and somebody's walking away from you, and you all of a sudden they turn around and they see this huge car behind them, they're a little startled. So you become more aware of those kinds of things when you drive an electric vehicle.
I agree with you, though. A quiet vehicle would be a benefit. My car's very noisy on the road.
Yeah, well, it's not just a benefit. I mean, it's soothing. I mean, it's not. You get into these vehicles and it's got a calming effect. You really feel quite comfortable in them. And of course, the other benefits are the ones that you read about in the news, and that is that they don't pollute while you're driving them. And the only thing you have to worry about is where you get your power from, to make sure that it's as clean as you possibly can. And the advantage of electric over gas is that, in fact, you have a choice where you get your power. So with gasoline, you're stuck. You have to get gasoline. But with an electric car, you can have solar on your roof, and get your power from the sun. You can have a wind generator. You can buy your power from green sources, but you have the choice of where you get your power. So.
Is it cheaper to run?
Well, that's a difficult one. Unfortunately.
It depends.
Fuel-wise, it's clear that it's cheaper to run an electric car. It doesn't cost as much money because you're paying about a third of what you'd pay for gasoline on average. And a lot of that depends on how you get your power. In Palo Alto, when I used to live there, the power was relatively inexpensive compared to anywhere else in the state. I mean, it was about 7 cents a kilowatt hour, which is, compared to rates down here, it's about half what the rates are here. And if you add to that the fact that you can get special rates from PG&E for time of use, time of use meters allow me to collect power at night at as low as 5 cents a kilowatt hour. And then during the day it can peak up to 30 cents. But you don't charge during the day, you charge at night. So you can get an E9 or an E7 rate from PG&E and actually take advantage of that. I have an E7 because I have solar, and I want to take advantage of the solar producing energy between noon and 6 and actually running the meter back at 30 cents an hour so that I get the benefit of that at the end of the year. So with net metering, I actually zero out. I have no electrical costs.
Wow, that sounds like a great deal. Well, Will, you're kind of a pioneer in terms of using electric vehicles. How have the vehicles changed from when you first started to the leaf that you're going to be getting soon?
Well, and you know, it's nice to have real new car amenities. I mean, that the most exciting thing about this is that, in fact, it's got all the computer things that are coming in new cars and everything else. And when you look at that early Volkswagen I rode where he was turning on different switches to get it to accelerate, this is a huge improvement. But, yeah, I mean, I'm currently driving essentially a four-door Metro, which was called a Selectria Force, that was actually a production vehicle. But it didn't have electric windows to conserve on energy. It didn't have a lot of the amenities that people are kind of used to today. And so we're really going from an economic, Chevy kind of low-end car to something that's really nice and luxurious and has all the features. And that's really how things have changed. I mean, and the fact that they can do that for the cost they can is quite amazing. This is the lowest cost battery electric car that's ever been on the market, and it's a production car, and that's why.
What does the Nissan Leaf run about?
The MSRP is $33,000, which seems a little high, but when you add the incentives to it, it's quite dramatically low. I mean, it gets down. You can actually pencil it out at about $22,000 after tax.
State and federal tax credit.
Correct. Yeah. So a $7,500 tax credit, which I heard from a reporter is trying to be changed to a rebate instead of a tax credit, which would be wonderful. And a $5,000 check from the state of California, which is until the money runs out, which I understand is about $6 million, and so should be good for the rest of the year.